Welcome to the most chilling mystery ever hidden inside a Japanese school. A classroom that rearranges itself when no one's watching. A missing student whose desk never stays empty. And a curse that only ends when every seat is filled. Tonight, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and dare to enter class 3 to 4. But remember, greater than don't change your seat. And don't look away. Chapter 1: The Abandoned Classroom. Kasaragi High School sat quietly on the outskirts of Saitama. During the day, it looked like any other ordinary school. Students chatting, footsteps rushing through the halls, teachers calling out reminders. But when the sun dipped behind the trees near the sports field, the atmosphere changed completely. Silence hung heavy over every brick and window pane, as if the school itself was holding its breath. Behind the field stood an old 3-story building, isolated from the rest. Its wooden doors were bound shut with rusty chains, and faded warning signs hung crookedly. Dangerous area, do not enter. Students whispered about that place. About classroom 3 to 4, cursed and sealed 10 years ago, after a girl named Yuki vanished without a trace. That day, everything seemed normal, until the teacher noticed Yuki's seat. Her desk stood crooked, the only one out of place. Her chair had fallen, as if someone had grabbed her away violently. But what terrified everyone was this: every other desk in the room had shifted slightly, misaligned by just centimeters, forming a strange, unnatural pattern. The school searched for days. No signs of struggle, no fingerprints, no exit captured on camera. Yuki was simply gone. The official report said she ran away. No one believed it. Class 3 to 4 was locked permanently. Even speaking Yuki's name was discouraged. But rumors are stubborn. The more forbidden, the faster they spread. Some said that when no one was watching, the desks and chairs would rearrange themselves. Others claimed they saw a girl standing by the window of class 3 to 4 at night. Long hair covering her face, silently staring down at the schoolyard, vanishing the moment anyone blinked. Security guards reported hearing chairs scraping inside the old building at night. Whenever one dared approach, the hallway lights flickered violently, and a suffocating darkness leaked from behind the sealed doorway. Kasaragi High tried to bury the past. They believed time would erase fear. But they were wrong. Some memories refused to die. Some classrooms refused to stay silent. And on a gloomy October night, everything would begin again. Chapter 2: The Documentary Club. Ayato stepped into the film club room with a determined expression, unfolding an old, torn map of the abandoned school building behind the sports field. The corners of the paper looked as if something had chewed them away. A red circle marked a single room. Classroom 3 to 4. Next to it was a disturbing handwritten warning. Don't let them see you. Riku swallowed hard when he saw it. Mio looked around nervously and whispered, "Are we really doing this?" The guard said he heard furniture moving in there again last night. Ayato didn't answer. He placed the heavy camcorder on the table. Its metallic sound echoed sharply through the quiet room. He had once seen a leaked video. Desks in class 3 to 4 moving on their own, dragging something, or someone, out of sight. The video disappeared within hours. But Ayato remembered every frame. Hannah, the skeptic of the group, showed more excitement than fear. She pulled out a handheld audio scanner. They say the police once recorded strange sounds there, like scratching under the floor. If we catch anything like that, that's real evidence. Riku's voice cracked. Scratching, from underneath the floor? Meaning something is down there? Ayato smirked slightly. If someone disappears, it'll just be one person. Nobody laughed. The atmosphere quickly turned heavy. Wind battered the clubroom windows. The ceiling light flickered. And then, click. The lights went out, for one long second. When they flickered back to life, the desks and chairs in the room had shifted. Just a little. Just enough to prove a point. Mio gasped. We didn't touch anything, right? Ayato stared at a chair near the door. It was slowly sliding back into its original position, scraping the floor like bones grinding together. No one dared speak or even breathe loudly. Hannah switched on the scanner. Its screen glitched with static waves. Then a whisper, faint, distorted, played through the speaker. Greater than, one missing? Still missing. Riku jumped back as a desk beside him jerked violently, bumping his leg. He pressed his hand against the underside of the desk, and froze. There was something dark smeared there. Thick, dried, and unmistakably human. Hannah's voice trembled. I don't think that's paint. Before anyone could react, a deep cracking sound echoed from behind the supply cabinet. Like bones shifting. Or something trying to stand. A chair suddenly tilted upright on two legs. Like an animal poised to leap. Riku stumbled backward. Ayato raised the camera instinctively, focusing on the dark corner. A figure crouched there. Its limbs bent wrong. Head drooping unnaturally forward. Then, it lifted its face toward them. A pale, damaged face. An eye staring sightlessly. A school badge barely clinging to a torn uniform. Class 3 to 4. Mio screamed. The figure whispered, its voice stretching like it came from a broken throat. Greater than, do not change your seats? Suddenly, every chair shuddered violently and charged toward them. Ayato shouted, run! And the nightmare truly began. Chapter 3. The first footage. The four of them sprinted out of the film club room, as if chased by something unspeakable. Ayato fumbled with the key, hands shaking so badly that he dropped it multiple times. The metallic clatter echoed through the dark hallway, each bounce answered by faint, clicking sounds further down the corridor. Mio pressed her back to the wall, gasping for breath, still hearing in her mind the sound of chairs charging at them. No one dared look back. Ayato finally locked the clubroom door. It felt like the only barrier between them. And a horror they couldn't understand. Movie camera reviewing the footage. They gathered in Ayato's dorm room. A single lamp illuminating the laptop screen. Like a spotlight exposing the truth. Ayato hit play. At first, there was nothing unusual. Empty clubroom. Still furniture. Silence. Riku exhaled shakily. But then, static warped the audio. A slow scraping noise bled into the speakers. Creak, creak. One desk slid sideways, as if tugged by invisible hands. A chair tilted, as though leaning in to listen. Soon, every piece of furniture moved, aligning into a new formation. Like soldiers on command. Mio covered her mouth. How did we hear nothing? Ayato didn't respond. He fast-forwarded to the moment the entity appeared. What they saw wasn't just one shadow. There were dozens. Dozens of twisted silhouettes crawling beneath the floorboards. Limbs bending in unnatural ways. Heads lolling with each movement. It looked like a hive of broken figures. Riku whispered, horrified. Someone is under every desk. Hannah's voice cracked. Not someone. Students. Ayato zoomed in. A nearly faceless head turned toward the camera. Its jaw slack, as a hoarse voice hissed. Greater than, 213. Class begins. Ayato froze the frame. Look at the timestamp, Riku said, panic rising. 2:13 a.m. Hannah glanced at the wall clock. 2:10 a.m. Fear tightened around them like a noose. Mio stuttered. What happens at 2:13? No answer. Just the ticking clock. 2:11 a.m. A knock. 3 hard bangs on the dorm door. Bang. 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 Everyone froze. 2:12 a.m. A dragging sound seeped up from the floor, as though something was climbing through the cracks beneath their feet. The floorboards trembled. Ayato's camera switched on, by itself, and pointed toward the door. 2:13 a.m. In the live feed, chairs began to crawl into the dorm hallway. On their own. One of them was smeared with fresh dark stains. A voice whispered. Right behind them. Greater than, time for class. Chapter 4 The Message from the Abyss. The dorm room door burst open, as if slammed by a powerful invisible force. Cold air swept inside, and the chairs continued to slide in, one by one, as though they had been summoned. Aoto lifted the camera, instinctively pointing toward the floor. Under the bed, thin, pale fingers clawed at the tiles, scratching a trail. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Red streaks followed every movement, as though the floor itself was bleeding. Mio screamed, "We need to get out of here." Before Aoto could respond, his phone vibrated violently in his pocket. He pulled it out. The screen lit up on its own. A new message. From an unknown number. Greater than don't run. If you don't want to end up like me. Why? Aoto froze. Why? Yuki. Hana's voice trembled as she grabbed his wrist. Is she still alive? Riku backed away from the bed. No. No, she can't be. We saw, whatever that was, under the desks. But then, a whisper slipped through the room. Weak, strained? As if a throat had been crushed. Greater than, sit, in the right place. And someone may live. Dash dash dash. Drop of blood, the mark of the chosen. Hana suddenly gasped in pain. She looked down and paled. 3 deep scratches had appeared on her ankle. Shockingly precise. As if marking her. A single long black hair stuck out from the wound. Hana screamed, trying to pull it loose. But the hair seemed endless. Tugging something with it. Aoto grabbed her. They've marked you. They've chosen you. Mio burst into tears. Does that mean she's the next to disappear? A chair slid up beside Hana. Waiting, almost patiently. On its seat, carved letters spelled. Greater than number 21, Yuki. Hana collapsed. No, no, no. Aoto clenched his fists. The desks don't want anyone. They want the right person. In the correct seat. And if a seat remained empty, something would fill it. Dash dash dash. Prohibited no escape. Aoto's phone buzzed again. Greater than I sat in the wrong place. The class swallowed me. Don't let it take more. Yuki. The chairs around them began scraping louder. Closing in. A new voice echoed from the ground below. Raspy and agonized. Greater than, do not defy the class. The floor cracked open, revealing a ghastly, yawning gap. A distorted face emerged. Eyes unfocused. Jaw hanging unnaturally. It dragged itself upward, reaching. Aoto shielded Hana, but a chair lunged, striking Aoto hard and knocking him backward. The camera hit the ground. Its final captured image showing. Greater than a rotten hand clutching Aoto's leg, dragging him toward the cracking floor. Chapter 5 The carvings behind the teacher's desk. Aoto's head throbbed as he struggled to stay conscious. He blinked, once, twice. When his vision cleared, they were no longer in the dorm room. They were inside classroom 3-4. Moonlight leaked through cracked windows, casting shadows across desks that seemed to breathe in slow rhythm, creaking like living joints. The desks shifted subtly, scraping across the floor in unison. A silent warning. They were surrounded. Mio clung to the wall, voice trembling. We're back. How? Hana collapsed nearby, clutching her injured ankle. Blood dripping into fissures in the floor, as though the classroom was drinking it. Riku trembled, scanning the room. This is class 3-4. Aoto forced himself up, leaning against a desk. His hand came away smeared with something dark and sticky. A familiar metallic scent. He wiped his palm on his pants quickly, trying not to think about it. Dash dash dash. Open book The Hidden Testament. Aoto spotted something on the far end of the room. The teacher's desk. It looked like it hadn't been touched in a decade. Dust layered thick like ash. But when Aoto stepped behind it and lifted his phone light, he froze. Carved into the wooden back panel were countless lines of text, scratched in jagged strokes that could only come from human nails. Dark stains clotted in each groove. Greater than everyone must sit in the right place. Anyone who moves will be replaced. Don't stand up. Don't switch seats. Don't leave class. And in the middle. Overridden again and again. With desperate force. Greater than Yuki. Fragments of broken fingernails were still wedged in the letters. Mio choked a sob. She was trying to warn us. Right here. Chains the class enforces the rules. Without warning. A chair sprang upright. Slamming toward Riku like a charging beast. Ayato shouted, "Watch out." Too late. The chair struck Riku hard from behind. Its legs pinning him down. Forcing him into a sitting posture. A posture that matched the seat labeled number 17. Riku gasped in shock and terror. His body snapping rigid as though invisible strings were pulling him into place. His eyes widened, struggling to speak. But no sound came out. The chair dragged him toward the exact desk it belonged to. Ayato and Mio ran to help. But every desk in the room blocked their path. Shifting strategically. Hurting them away. Hana screamed. It's forcing him to take someone's seat. Ayato realized Riku was being reassigned. The classroom was restoring order. Reclaiming its students. Riku's body collapsed into the chair. Frozen. Eyes glossy with pain. And fear still trapped inside. A terrible silence followed. Mio sobbed. This can't be happening. This can't be real. Hana shook violently. We're going to die here, one by one. Ayato clenched his teeth. Furious. No. It only wants the class to be full again. It needs the exact number. And the exact students. Mio shivered. Then who's next? As if answering. On the chalkboard, unseen hands wrote. Greater than number 21, Hana. Number 22, Ayato. Number 23, Mio. 3 desks scraped forward. 3 seats stood waiting. Beneath the floor. Hands clawed closer. Chapter 6 The Seat of Sacrifice. Ayato stepped in front of Hana and Mio. Shielding them from the 3 desks. Slowly inching closer. The chalkboard message still glowed faintly. Greater than number 21, Hana. Number 22, Ayato. Number 23, Mio. As if the room was taking attendance. Ayato gripped the edge of a desk and shoved. But it barely moved an inch. The whole room seemed rooted to a single will. Mio whispered, terrified. Ayato? If we refuse to sit, what will happen? Ayato forced his voice steady. Don't let them decide our place. We'll break this rule, just like Yuki tried to. But behind him, the floorboards pulsed. A dull rhythm like a heartbeat beneath the classroom. Something, or many things, waited down there. Chair Riku's awakening. A strained groan came from Riku's direction. Ayato turned. Riku's head jerked up. His eyes were wide open. But completely unfocused. He tried to shout. But only a rasp escaped his throat. Greater than, don't, sit. Mio reached out to him. Riku. We'll get you out. But Riku's hand shot forward. Grabbing her wrist. Not by choice. More like his body was being controlled. Puppet-like. Mio shrieked and stumbled backward. Ayato yelled. Riku, fight it. Riku's eyes flickered. Some fragment of his consciousness struggling inside. He managed to choke out. Greater than, one, must, take, my, place? Then his body went still again. Locked to the seat assigned to him. Whole clues beneath the surface. Hana's gaze dropped to the floor. And she noticed something horrifying. Under each desk was a name. Etched deep into the wood grain. Not the names of furniture. But the names of the missing students. She counted silently. 21. There are 21 names here. Mio gasped. That means one more is needed. Ayato clenched his fists. No one is taking Hana's seat. No one is replacing anyone. Suddenly, A row of desks jerked violently, splitting apart, revealing a square-shaped outline on the floor. A hidden trapdoor. It opened with a loud crack, releasing a blast of icy air, reeking of soil and dust long sealed away. From the darkness below, voices echoed, desperate, begging, greater than, "Don't change seats? It hurts. Stay in your place? Let us out." Hands clawed from beneath, not aiming to pull them down, but reaching for help. Mio backed away, shaking. "They're trapped. They're alive?" Ayato's voice cracked. "Not alive, but not gone either. Dash dash dash." Drop of blood the next name. The chalkboard erased itself. Chalk scraped harshly, rewriting. "Greater than next, Ayato." Mio grabbed him. "No. They want you, because you're fighting back." Ayato pushed her behind him. "If someone has to face this, I choose myself." Hana cried out, "Ayato, please." But Ayato stepped forward toward desk number 22. His legs shook, but he kept going. The desks, the voices, the entire classroom seemed to hold its breath. Just one more step, and a whisper came from directly behind his ear. A voice he recognized. "Greater than, don't take my place." Ayato spun around. Yuki stood there. Her figure was pale, shifting like she didn't fully belong here. But her eyes, filled with a fear deeper than death. Yuki shook her head slowly. "Greater than, if you sit, I disappear forever." Ayato stared, frozen. Yuki reached toward his hand. "Greater than, there's another way. Find it, before the class decides for you." Then, every desk snapped toward him, as if lunging to claim its final student. Ayato braced himself, determined that if fate was a seat, he would be the one to break it. Chapter 7: The Hell Beneath the Classroom. Ayato stood frozen, still shaken from seeing Yuki's sudden appearance. The desks and chairs, moments ago aggressive, had gone still, but the silence they left behind was far more terrifying. The floor beneath them throbbed faintly, like a giant heart beating under the world. Mio pressed close to Ayato, hands trembling uncontrollably. Her whisper cracked. "Ayato, what happened to Hana? Where is she?" Ayato swallowed hard. He didn't have the courage to answer. Not after what he saw. Dash dash dash. Yuki's revelation. Yuki stepped toward the center of the room, her presence causing chalk dust to swirl in the air, as if the room acknowledged her. Her expression had changed, no longer blank and distant, but weighed with grief. "Greater than, the class demands order. Anyone who disrupts it is taken underground." Ayato's voice shook. "Underground? What's down there?" Yuki looked at him, pain flickering in her eyes. "Greater than, the real classroom, where those who were replaced still wait." A chilling chorus of whispers rose from beneath the floor. "Greater than, let us out. It's still class time. Someone take our place." Mio clapped her hands over her ears. Dash dash dash. Hold the returning seat. Suddenly, a chair emerged through a widening crack in the floor, twisted slightly, as though something heavy had once clung to it desperately. More desks followed, rising like coffins resurfacing from a grave. Ayato took several steps back. Yuki continued. "Greater than, this school was built on top of an old shrine. Every year, students were chosen and bound here. When the building was sealed, the ritual didn't stop." She lifted a hand, and the desks responded, inching closer. "Greater than, the class must always be complete." Ayato clenched his jaw. "You mean, someone always has to vanish?" Yuki nodded slowly. "Greater than, one wrong seat, one missing student, and the classroom comes alive. To restore balance." Mio cried softly. Hana sat in the wrong place. Ayato shut his eyes. His heartbeat hammered painfully. Dash dash dash. Hourglass final warning. The floor cracked further, revealing shadows moving underneath, trying to pull themselves up to the surface. A desperate voice rose among them. Greater than, the bell rings soon. Hurry. Someone must sit. Ayato faced Yuki. How do we break this? How do we stop it? Yuki's expression softened. A flicker of hope. Greater than, you already did something none of us could do. Ayato frowned. What? Yuki reached out and touched his chest, right over his heartbeat. Greater than, you refused to let someone else die in your place. Ayato's breath halted. Yuki smiled sadly. Greater than, that's why the class fears you. The ground shook violently. One last message etched itself on the chalkboard. Greater than seat 22 must be filled. Mio screamed. Ayato, run. The classroom roared like a beast deprived of prey. Ayato grabbed Mio's hand. Yuki took a single step back, letting go of the world above, and the floor beneath her feet collapsed. She sank into darkness, whispering, Greater than, find me. Before the bell rings, Ayato shouted her name, but she was already gone. Only desks remained. Closing in. Chapter 8 The Final Run. Desks and chairs crashed toward Ayato and Mio, like predators pouncing on prey. The floor heaved beneath them, groaning, cracking, threatening to swallow them whole. Ayato grabbed Mio's wrist. Run, don't let them corner you. But desks moved faster. An entire row lunged, blocking their escape toward the hallway. Ayato spun around and spotted the windows. He didn't hesitate. He climbed onto a desk and leapt across another, dodging sharp edges snapping at his legs. Mio followed shakily, her footsteps stumbling on shifting wood. The desk screeched loudly, frustrated they had missed their target. Ayato smashed the butt of his camera against the window latch. Clack! The latch broke. He shoved the window open as cold night air burst inside. Jump, he ordered. Mio climbed up but froze, eyes wide with terror. It's 3 floors down, we'll die. Ayato gritted his teeth. Better than being trapped forever. But a desk rammed into the wall under them, knocking the window frame and almost throwing Mio off. Ayato pulled her back and changed his plan at the last second. There, the board. He pointed at the chalkboard. A section of the board had cracked earlier, revealing a dark opening behind it, like a crawl space or hidden shaft. With adrenaline surging, Ayato seized a chair nearby and hurled it at the board. Crash! The board shattered, and a passageway yawned open. Without thinking, Ayato shoved Mio through first. Go, now! Mio tumbled into darkness. Ayato turned back, to face the entire classroom now converging on him. He spat defiantly. I'm not your missing student. Then he jumped, plunging into the hidden passage. Dash dash dash. Hole into the underbelly. Ayato's body scraped against rough stone, sliding downward through a steep shaft. He tumbled into cold soil, barely able to breathe. Mio's frightened sobs echoed nearby. Ayato, where are we? Ayato looked up. Above them was the shattered chalkboard hole, glowing faintly with classroom lights. But instead of chasing them, the desks simply watched from the edge, arranged like an audience, silent and waiting. Ayato's skin crawled. He turned away and faced the darkness ahead. A narrow passage sloped downward, carved earth walls, lined with jagged, rusty nails, embedded like warning spikes. A chill wind blew from below, carrying with it a faint murmur. Greater than, C22. Don't forget. Mio shivered uncontrollably. What is this place? Ayato clenched his jaw. Yuki called it the real classroom. Dash dash dash. Revolving light, no turning back. Behind them, the opening began to seal. Stone grinding against stone. Mio screamed, Ayato, we're trapped. Ayato grabbed her shoulders. We keep moving. There must be another way out. The passage ahead felt like a giant throat, pulling them deeper into something ancient and hungry. A whisper followed them with every step. Greater than, class is not over yet. Ayato tightened his grip on the camera. He would survive this. He would find Yuki. And he would end this nightmare. Before the class chose its next missing student. Chapter 9. The classroom below. Ayato lay still for a moment, catching his breath as dust settled around them. The air was cold, wet, and smelled of soil that had never seen sunlight. When Ayato rose, he noticed the walls were not concrete, but packed earth, braided with roots like bones beneath skin. Ahead, a weak flickering light bounced off the walls of a downhill passage. Mio clutched Ayato's sleeve. Are we underground? Ayato forced himself to nod. Deep underground. Whispers rose from the darkness ahead. Greater than, 22. The missing one? Welcome back. Ayato swallowed. They know we're here. Dash dash dash. Zombie the others. A soft dragging sound echoed. Shuffling steps. Like chairs being pulled across a floor. Very slowly. Ayato raised the camera, hoping for light, but wishing not to see. And then, figures emerged from the shadows. Students. Or what remained of them. Their bodies were bent into seated positions. Backs arched unnaturally, as though welded to invisible chairs. Their faces. Blank, unfocused. Mouths open in silent screams. Some wore faded Kasaragi uniforms. From a decade ago. Mio gasped and covered her mouth. It's them. The missing students. They crawled closer, arms dragging behind them like stiff wooden legs. Their heads bobbed, as though strings were pulling them forward. One of them lifted its pale face toward Ayato. A hoarse breath. Greater than, don't change seats? Ayato stumbled backward, pulling Mio with him. Dash dash dash. A door in the dark. Ayato spotted a rusted metal door, bolted into the earth wall, like a bunker entrance forgotten by time. He didn't think. He ran. They reached the door. Ayato gripped the handle and pulled with all his strength. It was stuck. The creatures dragged closer, more emerging from the dark. Mio pounded on the door. Please open, please. Ayato used his entire weight, and the door burst open with a metallic scream. The two stumbled inside and slammed it shut just as something thudded against the other side. Heavy breaths. Silence returned. Then, a familiar voice spoke from the room's center. Greater than, Ayato. Ayato froze, standing there, in an old student uniform. Alive, or at least no longer hollow, was Yuki. Not the broken version beneath the classroom. Not the silent ghost from earlier. But a girl with clear eyes. And a trembling smile. Ayato couldn't breathe. Yuki, you're here? Her voice wavered. Can you help me go back to class? Ayato frowned, confused. What do you mean? Yuki stepped closer, hands tightening at her chest. Greater than, if I return to the right seat, all of this can end. Ayato stared in disbelief. You want to finish the ritual? Yuki nodded, but tears began streaming down her cheeks. Greater than, if I don't, the classroom will never stop. It will keep replacing students. Forever. Ayato shook his head helplessly. No, there must be another way. Before he could finish, boom, the metal door behind them buckled inward. The things outside were breaking through. Yuki's voice broke. Greater than, Ayato, please. Don't let more people die because of me. Mio trembled. Ayato, what do we do? Ayato clenched his fists. Someone had to make a choice. And time was running out. Chapter 10. The Truth of Replacement. The door behind Ayato groaned. Metal bending under force. Like thin cardboard. Shadows and arms forced through the cracks. Mio whimpered, stepping back. They're coming. Ayato, they're coming. Yuki stood perfectly still. Her breathing slow, controlled. A strange calm in the chaos. Ayato shouted over the banging, "Yuki, tell me everything, right now." Her eyes lowered, voice soft but clear. "Greater than, this building was once a shrine. They sacrificed students to keep the school safe." Ayato's heart dropped. Yuki continued. "Greater than, when the school expanded. They buried the ritual under this classroom. But the rules didn't die." Ayato clenched his teeth. "So, the desks aren't haunted. They're enforcing the ritual." Yuki nodded. "Greater than, each desk belongs to one soul. If a student moves, the class will restore balance. One must take the seat left behind." Mio trembled. "Then those things out there?" Yuki whispered. "Greater than, they're the ones who took our place. We replaced them." Ayato stared in horror. "All the missing students? They were punishments?" "No," Yuki said quietly. "Greater than, they were corrections." The word felt like poison. Puzzle piece: the unexpected truth. The banging on the door grew louder. Dirt trickled from the ceiling. Yuki met Ayato's eyes. "Greater than, I was the first to move seats. The classroom swallowed me. Then it swallowed the rest." Ayato shook his head. "No, they died because the school ignored the problem." Yuki cut him off. "Greater than, no. They died because of me." Ayato froze. Yuki stepped closer, trembling but determined. "Greater than, if someone takes my place, I can finally leave. And the class will stop taking others." Ayato's voice cracked. "And you want that someone to be me?" Yuki looked down, ashamed. "Greater than, you're the only one willing to take someone's place. To save them." Ayato's fists tightened. He knew it was true. Skull and crossbones, two horrible choices. The chalkboard flickered to life. Words scraping across it. "Greater than, fill seat no. 22. OR." The class continues. Ayato's blood ran cold. If he took the seat, right pointing arrow, Yuki would be free. Right pointing arrow, he would become the 22nd student. Right pointing arrow, no one else would disappear. If he refused, right pointing arrow, Ayato could escape. Right pointing arrow, but the curse would hunt new victims. Right pointing arrow, possibly Mio, or anyone at school. Mio grabbed his arm. "Ayato, don't do this." Ayato whispered. "If I can end it, shouldn't I?" Mio shook her head violently. "Not by sacrificing yourself." Her tears fell hard. High voltage, the door breaks. Bang. The door bent inward. Bang. Hands clawed through. Groaning in agony. Yuki's voice strained. "Greater than, Ayato, please, decide now. Before the class decides for you." Ayato looked at her. At Mio. At the darkness reaching for them. And in that moment, he understood. No matter what he chose, someone would pay the price. Ayato stepped forward. Mio cried out. "No, Ayato." Yuki reached for his hand, her eyes burning with hope and fear. The voices behind the door echoed. "Greater than, class cannot be dismissed until all seats are filled." Ayato's decision would destroy him, or doom them all. There was no escape. Chapter 11: The Choice of the Living. Ayato stepped toward the desk labeled number 22. His fingers trembled as they hovered above the worn wooden seat. The entire room seemed to hold its breath. Mio grabbed his arm desperately. "Ayato, please, there has to be another way." Her voice cracked with fear. Ayato didn't look at her. His eyes locked onto the cursed seat. "If I stop this, no one else will suffer." Mio's tears fell harder. Sacrificing yourself isn't a victory. It's just trading one life for another. Ayato almost faltered. But the classroom gave no time for hesitation. Whole the classroom reacts. Suddenly, every desk lunged forward at once. Wood legs scraping the floor like a stampede. Mio and Hana were separated from Ayato. As the room rearranged itself into rows again, restoring a perfect classroom layout. Shadows beneath desks, stretched upward like puppeteers yanking strings. The chalkboard rattled violently, words etching themselves in chalk dust. Greater than take your seat. Final warning. Ayato shouted to the ceiling. I won't let anyone else take my place. For the first time, the desks hesitated. Busts in silhouette Yuki's true fear. Yuki stood a few feet away, hands pressed to her chest, as if holding her spirit together. Her voice was barely a whisper. Greater than, if you sit, I will finally be free. Ayato looked at her. Truly looked. She wasn't bargaining. She was begging. Greater than, but you will remain here in my place. Ayato. So either I die, or someone else. Yuki nodded, tears gathering in her eyes. Greater than, I don't want anyone to vanish again. But I have been trapped here for so long. Ayato's throat tightened. Yuki, you're terrified of being alone. Her eyes widened, as if no one had ever said those words to her. Revolving light and unexpected intervention. Before anyone could move. Crash. The ceiling above burst open. Concrete dust rained down. A rope dropped through the hole, and a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. A voice called down. Greater than, Ayato. If you're there, answer me. Tei Nakamura. The teacher who once warned them to stay away. Ayato shouted. Tei Nakamura, we're here. Mio's relief broke into sobs. But the classroom reacted violently. Desks rammed into walls, trying to block the escape route. Nakamura leaned down further. Grab the rope, I'll pull you up. Yuki stared at Ayato with terror. Greater than, if you leave. The ritual continues. Ayato looked between the rope and Yuki's trembling figure. Two futures opened before him, both bleeding pain. Crossed swords. Ayato makes his move. Ayato made his decision. In one breath, he sprinted toward Yuki. Instead of the rope, Mio screamed. Ayato, what are you doing? Ayato grabbed Yuki's arm. We're leaving together. Both of us go up there. Yuki shook her head in panic. Greater than, no, if I return, another student must take my seat. Ayato cut her off, voice fierce. Then we destroy the whole system. No more sacrifices. The classroom howled, desks throwing themselves at Ayato, as if trying to tear Yuki from him. Ayato shouted toward the ceiling. They, pull us up now. Nakamura saw them together, and immediately hauled the rope with all his strength. Ayato lifted off the ground, dragging Yuki upward with him. Mio collapsed to her knees in shock. Ayato. Chains a hand that won't let go. But just as Ayato and Yuki rose, a hand shot up from a desk and clamped around Ayato's leg. Then another, and another. Dozens of desperate grips, trying to pull him back. Not to harm him, to keep him. The voices below wailed. Greater than, don't leave us alone. We can't be left behind. Ayato yelled in agony. Nakamura, hurry. The rope strained. Ayato and Yuki inches from salvation. But Yuki looked down at the hands clinging to Ayato, and her expression changed. Not fear. Guilt. Greater than, Ayato. Don't let go. Ayato pulled harder. He would not abandon her. To darkness again. But the classroom roared. It refused to lose its final student. Everything would come down to the next moment. The moment Ayato either freed everyone or damned himself forever. Chapter 12. Defying the ritual. Ayato and Yuki were being hoisted upward, closer and closer to the rooftop opening. Ayato's grip on Yuki tightened, refusing to let go. Below them, the classroom roared. Desks launched into the air, smashing against walls and clawing at the rope. Like wooden predators, the entire room felt alive, thrashing in fury. Yuki's voice trembled. Greater than, Ayato. If you pull me out, I'll vanish completely. Ayato gritted his teeth. You deserve freedom, not eternal punishment. Yuki shook her head, fear overtaking her expression. Greater than, but if I go, the class won't have its 22nd student. It will go after someone else. Ayato stared into her eyes, the soul inside them. Then we'll break the ritual itself. Warning, the classroom strikes back. The rope jerked violently, yanked downward by unseen forces. Ayato lost grip for a second, dangling in midair, with dozens of hands reaching for his legs. Mio screamed from below. Ayato, hold on. Tei Nakamura shouted from above. I've got you, don't look down. But Ayato did look. The classroom beneath them was changing. Desks shifted into a new form. A circle of seats tightening inward, like jaws closing around prey. The chalkboard scraped violently, letters carving themselves. Greater than return to your seat. Ayato yelled back. No. For the first time, the classroom hesitated, as if stunned. That a student dared say that word. Locked the first crack in the curse. A shockwave erupted, dust falling from the ceiling. As the classroom grieved in rage, Yuki clung to Ayato's arm, her voice barely holding together. Greater than, Ayato. You do not understand? I am the ritual. Ayato froze. What? Yuki's voice cracked in agony. Greater than, I'm the one who was seated first. The ritual anchored on me. As long as I exist here, the class must be complete. Ayato's heart plunged into dread. You mean? If you disappear? Yuki nodded, tears floating in midair, as gravity shifted wildly. Greater than, the ritual collapses. All trapped souls will be freed. Ayato almost lost grip. Including you? Yuki's silence was the answer. Drop of blood, the price of freedom. Ayato looked down. Students who had vanished years ago lifted their hollow eyes to him, begging silently for salvation. Their hands reached upward, not to harm them, but to hold on to the only hope they'd ever seen. Ayato looked up, Tei Nakamura straining to keep them lifted, Mio screaming for him to survive. Ayato looked at Yuki. She stared back, with fear and courage combined. She whispered, greater than, let go. Ayato shook his head fiercely. I'm not sacrificing you. Yuki smiled sadly. Greater than, but I already died. Ayato. The rope burned against Ayato's palms, as gravity dragged them downward, the ritual resisting desperately. Ayato's voice cracked. You're alive now, because you hope again. Yuki's breath hitched. No one had ever given her that. Fire Ayato's defiance. Ayato tightened his hold. We're leaving together. All of us. He shouted to the darkness below. Greater than, the class is over. The world screamed. The floor collapsed inward, the ritual unraveling in chaos. The rope jerked. Nakamura pulled, with every last bit of strength. Ayato's arms burned, but he didn't let go. Yuki's grip tightened too. For the first time, not out of fear of being left behind, but out of the desire to go forward, toward the light. Chapter 13, The Chosen One. Yuki's grip tightened around Ayato's ankle, not with the strength of a monster, but with the fear of someone who has been left alone for too long. Ayato hung suspended in midair, the rope straining under his weight, and Nakamura's desperate pull from above. Below them, a sea of trapped students stared up, with hollow, pleading eyes. Mio screamed from the ledge. Ayato, don't look down, don't let go. But Ayato couldn't ignore Yuki. He saw something in her eyes, a terror deeper than death. Greater than, don't leave me. Don't leave me alone again? Ayato's heart clenched. He whispered back, Yuki, I won't, not this time. Dash dash dash. Balance scale a choice without mercy. The voices below rose louder. An agonized choir. Greater than, don't abandon us. Take our place. We can't be alone. Ayato understood the cruel logic. Either he replaced them, or someone else would. He thought of Hana's last scream. He thought of Riku trapped in his seat. He thought of Mio, who still had a life to live. And he thought of Yuki, who had been punished for a single mistake. Ayato's eyes burned. No more replacements. His other hand reached down and grasped Yuki's arm firmly. Yuki's eyes widened. Greater than, Ayato, what are you doing? Ayato gritted his teeth. We leave together. Dash dash dash. Repeat button. A memory resurfaced. Yuki shook her head weakly. Greater than, you don't understand. The ritual will always find someone. Ayato met her gaze. That's why we end it. Tears slipped down Yuki's cheeks. Greater than, no one has ever chosen to stay with me. Ayato smiled faintly. I'm choosing everyone. Yuki gasped, as if the weight of those words was enough to shatter chains. Dash dash dash. New moon, no going back. The rope jerked again. Nakamura groaned with effort. Greater than, I'm pulling you up, hang on. Mio reached down as far as she could, crying. Greater than, Ayato, grab my hand too. He looked up, and for the first time, he saw hope waiting for them above. He looked down, and saw desperation waiting below. He looked at Yuki, caught between worlds. Ayato whispered, both of us. We'll go home. Dash dash dash. Drop of blood, the beginning of the end. He pulled Yuki upward, inch by inch, fighting the pull of the curse. The classroom roared, the ritual fraying, like paper soaked in water. The floor cracked apart completely, revealing faces and hands of every missing student. But instead of dragging him down, they reached toward Yuki with trembling hope. Greater than, take us home. Don't leave us here. Please. Yuki stared at them, realization flooding her. Greater than, they never wanted a replacement. They only wanted to be saved. Ayato nodded. Then let's save them. The rope lifted higher, almost reaching safety. Yuki whispered, greater than, thank you, Ayato. For the first time, she smiled with warmth, not ghostly sorrow. Ayato felt the curse breaking. He could see daylight. He could feel freedom. But the classroom wasn't finished yet. Not without one last strike. Chapter 14. The final bell approaches. Ayato and Yuki were pulled closer to the opening above. Daylight spilled down on them like salvation. But the classroom beneath them, the cursed room of class 3 to 4, was not finished yet. With a deafening roar, the entire room shifted. Desks and chairs bent and twisted, stretching into monstrous shapes, with eyes and mouths carved out of splintered wood. It was no longer pretending to be a normal classroom. It was a hungry shrine, demanding completion of its ritual. Dash dash dash. Ogre. The classroom reveals its face. The ground where they once stood collapsed into a swirling pit of darkness. From within it, the missing students lifted their heads, not as enemies, not as ghosts, but as victims begging for release. Greater than, don't leave us here. Take us home. Don't abandon us. Ayato's grip tightened. If we reach the surface, it ends. Yuki squeezed his hand, uncertain. What if it doesn't? Ayato looked into her eyes. Then we'll find another way. Together. Dash dash dash. High voltage. The teacher's burden. Tei Nakamura strained with every muscle. Sweat and dust streaming down his face. His voice shook. Greater than, Ayato. I failed them once. I won't fail again. Ayato looked up, surprised. You were their teacher? Weren't you? Nakamura's expression twisted in pain. Greater than, I locked the classroom, thinking I could contain the curse. But I only trapped them longer. Yuki closed her eyes, finally understanding the truth. He tried to protect future students, not just bury our memory. Nakamura's voice broke. Greater than, I'm sorry. Yuki? I'm so sorry. Axe the last command. The chalkboard below cracked into 1,000 pieces. Yet one final message emerged. Through flying dust. Greater than class must be complete. The cursed room let out a screech of pure fury. Desks launched upward, trying to sever the rope. Ayato shouted, "They, pull harder." Mio grabbed the rope too. "We're not losing them." The rope jerked. Ayato and Yuki rising fast. Drop of blood. Yuki's fear. Suddenly, Yuki's hand slipped. Ayato's heart stopped. "No, Yuki." She dangled, with only his grip keeping her alive. Yuki stared up at him, eyes full of fear and longing. "Greater than, Ayato. If I reach the top, the ritual disappears." Ayato nodded desperately. "That's the point." Yuki shook her head, tears falling. "Greater than, but when it disappears, so do I." Ayato froze. He hadn't thought of that. The ritual didn't just trap her. It was the only thing keeping her here. Yuki whispered through trembling lips. "Greater than, if you want me to live, you have to stay." Ayato's vision blurred with panic. "No. I won't choose between you and everyone else." Yuki smiled weakly. "Greater than, you already have." Heartbreak the moment of consequence. Ayato pulled with everything he had. "Greater than, we're both going up. I promised you freedom." Yuki tried to smile. But the curse had one last rule. The rope snapped. Ayato flung upward. Mio and Nakamura caught him. But Yuki fell. Her fingers slipped from his grip. Like a nightmare dissolving. Ayato screamed. "Yuki!" Her final expression was peaceful. Relieved. As she whispered, "Greater than, thank you, for letting me go home." A flash of blinding white consumed the classroom. Then, silence. And class 3 to 4 was gone. Chapter 15. When the seats are empty. The rope pulled Ayato onto the rooftop. Cold air rushed over him as the sunlight finally hit his face. But the hole behind him was gone. No chalkboard. No classroom. No darkness. Only the ordinary rooftop of Kasaragi High School, under a calm morning sky. Mio stared in disbelief. "It's gone. All of it." Nakamura fell to his knees, relieved tears mixing with exhaustion. "The curse. It's over." Ayato turned immediately. "Yuki, where is she?" Only silence answered. The rooftop door burst open. Security guards, teachers, and frantic students flooded in. They had woken up from a night they couldn't remember. Reports spread. Hana and Riku were found unconscious on the first floor, alive but shaken. They recalled nothing. Parents cried. Doctors rushed them away. Everything seemed healed, except Ayato. Wind face a voice in the wind. Days passed. Classes resumed. The old building was quietly demolished. Everyone tried to forget, but Ayato couldn't. Every day after school, he returned to the sports field and stared at the space where class 3 to 4 once stood. Sometimes, the wind carried a faint voice. Greater than, thank you. He prayed it was Yuki. But he never saw her again. Film projector. The final footage. The film club reopened. Ayato sat alone one afternoon, sorting through their recordings, when the screen flickered. Static warped the footage. A classroom appeared. Class 3 to 4. Desks neatly aligned. Sunlight streaming in. And there, by the window, Yuki stood watching the schoolyard. With a soft, peaceful expression. Her hair swayed gently. She turned to the camera and smiled. Ayato whispered, "Yuki?" Her mouth moved silently. But the message was clear. Greater than, you freed us. Not yourself. Suddenly, she pointed directly at him. The camera zoomed on its own. Uncomfortably close. The chalkboard behind Yuki began writing by itself. Greater than attendance. 21:20 seconds. One missing. Ayato's heart stopped. Desks began to move. Inside the screen. Scraping toward the camera. Like they saw him. Yuki mouthed one last sentence. Greater than, don't change your seat. The screen went black. Dash dash dash. Graduation cap, the new beginning, or the new curse. Ayato closed the laptop slowly. Hand trembling. He looked around the film club room. The chairs were still. The room was silent. But on the whiteboard, a new message appeared. Greater than number 22, Ayato. The lights flickered. A familiar scraping sound whispered from the hallway. Creak. 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 Ayato's breath stopped. Because he finally understood. The ritual didn't demand souls. It demanded a class. As long as one seat is empty, Class 3 to 4 will return. And Ayato was now the last student. Thank you for watching until the very end. But beware. The curse of Class 3 to 4 never truly disappears. If you hear a chair move in the middle of the night, you might want to check whether your seat is still where it should be. Subscribe for more terrifying true Japanese mysteries. And whatever you do, don't skip class.
Like and subscribe to Whispering Dark Tales for more chilling ghost stories.